Hello all my beautiful sisters from those other misters, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing another installment in my testing all of my products series. Today I am doing foundations. So I have too many straight up. I got too many fucking foundations. I have 35 apparently. How did this happen? I know how this happened. I have held on to way too much makeup over the years. Basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take you through my thoughts on all of the foundations that I own. I'm going to tell you what I'm keeping, what I'm going to declutter, and I'm going to try and minimize my collection a little bit. So basically what I did was I took all of my foundations, I made a list of what they were, and I've been testing them out. I tested them just on their own with no primer, and I used the Laura Mercier translucent powder to set them, so I would be able to see, you know, how they compare to different foundations under similar wear conditions. I also applied every single one with a sponge because that's my preferred method of applying foundation at the moment. It changes every now and then. So I'm gonna start at the top of my list because I feel like that's the only way that I'm gonna get through this easily. Not easily. I'm sure this is gonna be a long video and I'm going to have to come to terms with the decluttering. Let's start with Clinique. This is the Beyond Perfecting Foundation and Concealer. I'll let you know the shade names so then you can get an idea of, you know, what works for me color wise. This one is 6 Ivory, so there she is. So my notes for this was great coverage and doesn't look too heavy on the skin. Keeping in mind that what I consider great coverage these days is, I would say, probably medium coverage. I no longer really like full coverage foundation. I don't feel like I need it. Also, after dealing with like serious acne crap and clearing that up after being on isotretinoin, I've come to appreciate my clear skin a lot more. So yeah, for me, medium coverage is what I gravitate towards, and I consider that great. I'm like, oh my god, that's perfect. You can still see the skin through it a little bit. Doesn't look like caked on thick heavy makeup. So great coverage, medium, and it doesn't look thick and heavy on the skin. It felt really comfortable. It doesn't dry my skin out, which was really nice. When it comes to, so I get creasing, lots of creasing. I get creasing on my chin because I sleep like this. Thanks, mum. Creasing in my smile lines and creasing around, like, you know, my eyes and stuff. And I would say that the creasing wasn't great. It was probably a little bit more than the average creasing that I get. So I kind of compare it to a foundation that I'm wearing right now, the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow foundation. That's kind of like, it's what I'm panning at the moment. It's one of my faves. I definitely get creasing with that, but it's not too much. But this one creases a little bit more. Now, I'm going to hold on to this one. I think I can definitely finish it in the future, but it's not one that I would repurchase. This one here is the Marc Jacobs Remarcable foundation. This has been discontinued, and I thought I would declutter this. I was like, this it didn't really work for me back in the day when I purchased it, mostly for color reasons. So I doubt it's going to work for me now. But look, let's have a talk about this. So this is discontinued. You can't go out and buy it, but I found it interesting how things have changed for my skin. So when I purchased this, it was slightly too light for me. This is the shade 12 Ivory. Now this is a very full coverage foundation. You can absolutely shear this out and it looks really nice on the skin if you just use a sponge. But if you apply like 2 layers or use a brush, which is how I used to use it, it is super, super full coverage. Like, you can't see any skin under there. You can see on my fingers, like, the color difference. It blocks out everything. Now, that's absolutely fine if you have a perfect color match. And it was never a perfect color match for me. It was always a little bit too light. So I probably would have had to go, like, maybe 2 shades and mix them to get the perfect color match. And that's kind of why this sort of sat at the wayside. I also used to just use this to like lighten up slightly to dark foundations. But what I've discovered is this is a perfect color match for me now. That's how little sun I've gotten over the last couple of years. And I really like the way that this looks on the skin when I apply just a tiny bit and blend it out with a sponge. This also doesn't cling to dry patches. So I have a tendency to get dry patches on my forehead. I don't know what it is. It's just, doesn't really matter what I do. It comes, it's there, and then eventually it goes away. Doesn't cling to dry patches, which is lovely. And the creasing isn't really that bad. So I'm gonna hang on to it. Obviously, I'm never going to buy it again. It is discontinued. I may not end up finishing it in the future, but this is one that I'm happy to have in my drawer and pull out and be like, yeah, I'll use that. Okay, let's go through a few that I'm not happy to have in my drawer. I wouldn't want to use them, and if I accidentally pulled one out and started putting it on my face, I'd be annoyed. This is from Benefit. It is the Hello Happy Flawless Brightening Foundation. Now, I love the formula of this. It is beautiful. It's got a nice light to medium-ish coverage, but it looks like skin. It looks gorgeous. I think this looks amazing on the skin, but it is goddamn orange on me. This is the shade 4. Benefit's shade ranges are absolutely woeful. When you see it there, you're probably like, really? That doesn't work for you? No, it does not. Let me get the excess off and show you what it looks like when it oxidizes. Okay, so I've just put it on like the center of my arm or my hand. That's my hand. So it's like in here, and you can probably see it's got like some peachy-ish tones to it. Now the problem is it continues to oxidize for quite a while, and it just gets more and more and more orange, and it doesn't look good. So I can't fix oxidizing foundation. Like it's a pain in the ass. You're going to initially put it on and it's going to be too light for you, and then you've just got to pray that it balances out. But often when something oxidizes, it oxidizes to like an orangey Oompa Loompa kind of shade, not to like a skin tone. So not for me, not into it. I'm getting rid of that one. Another one that I am going to get rid of because it's too dark for me is a Natasha Denona Transformatte foundation. So this is in the shade 45N medium. I'll show you a little bit here. You can see there, that's too dark for me. So this one, I don't know why they call this a matte foundation. I personally don't believe that it is. When this sets down on the face, it still sets with a bit of a sheen to it. So if you actually want your face to be matte, you would have to powder this to get rid of that sheen. But it doesn't set completely matte, which means it's actually quite comfortable to wear. The coverage of this is what I would consider medium, so it was in the realm of what I really like, and it looks lovely on the skin. It doesn't look like heavy or cakey or anything like that. And the creasing that I experienced when I wore this, and yes, I actually wore this for the day because even though it's too dark for me, I didn't leave the house. It was more for me about like working out what formulas of foundation I enjoy. This one, I liked it. The creasing wasn't too bad. I would say it was quite good. So yeah, it's not a bad foundation. I quite like it. The color's just not right for me, and I'm not gonna try and lighten this up. It is like too dark for me. Next up is the Covergirl Outlast All Day Stay Fabulous 3-in-1 foundation. I used to love this stuff. This is in the shade 120. My, how times have changed. So I feel like this sits on the skin badly. Like you can see it. It looks heavy. It never looks like it becomes one with the skin, and I do not like foundations like that anymore. I am so like, no, sorry, but I can't do it anymore. I got the aging skin, and when you put something like that on skin that's not already perfect, it looks atrocious. So not into the formula anymore. I also found like the coverage isn't bad, but for some reason my red areas, so like kind of here on my cheeks, which aren't actually that red, it's just sort of like the natural sort of little bit of splotchiness that you get with skin, it didn't cover that at all. So I felt like I just had these like red splotchy patches sort of here, and everything else looked thick and heavy and kind of gross. It's also creased quite heavily on me, so yeah, this one no go. But man, I used to love this foundation. I reckon I know I finished at least one bottle of this, potentially two, but that's going back some years, and this will never grace my collection again because it's a no-go. Another one that I have finished bottles of over the years and was always a firm favourite is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation for normal to oily skin. This is in the shade 120 Classic Ivory. This has withstood the test of time. I feel like the whole Fit Me range for me has just been a fave and maintained its favourite status. Concealer, still love it. Foundation, even though this is not considered, you know, the one that would be good for my skin, I still really like the way this looked on the skin. It's not overly drying for a matte foundation, which is great, and it sits on the skin really nicely. It's kind of like a thin formula, so if you want to build it up for more coverage, you can get that without it looking overly cakey and heavy. But if you only need a little bit of coverage, like the medium coverage that it offers, or light to medium I would say you could get, depending on how much you use, it looks beautiful. It still looks like skin. It wore really well as well, so I'm keeping it. And there is a possibility that someday in the future I may even buy another one of these when I finish it. So there you go. This one here is the CYO Matte Foundation in the shade 203. Now, this isn't sold in Australia. I believe it's also been discontinued where it is originally from. Is it Europe? You guys will know. You'll be able to fill in the gaps. But this was actually sent to me from a Beauty News subscriber. So, being a matte foundation, I'm always a bit wary, but I gave it a go, and holy crap guys, I understand why this is so loved by the people who use it and why those people are so upset that it was discontinued. This is a beautiful foundation. So this has good coverage. It's, you know, within the medium spectrum. If you want a bit more, you can put a little bit extra on. If you wanted it to be less, you could totally like just wear less and sheer it out even more. For a matte foundation, very, very comfortable. Didn't feel like it was sucking the life out of my skin even after I'd set it with a powder, which is like a big thing for me. The creasing that I experienced with this was pretty standard, what I would expect from any foundation that I'm putting on my skin, no worse or better. So I like it, and I get why people love this, and I'm very sorry that it was discontinued. I can respect the pain that you're experiencing. Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. Okay, so I have 3 shades here. I've got 2, which is the lightest that I currently own. It's a little bit too light for me. I have 4, which is a good shade match for me, and I have 5, which is too dark. When I mix 2 and 5 together, they make a pretty damn good shade for me. So, look, these are getting quite old. And when I was testing these out, I was like smelling them and I was checking the formula. I was like, has anything changed? Because if it has, I'm just going to throw them out. And they're fine. They're fine. Nothing's changed. So, you know, look, I'm going to hold on to them and I'm going to see if I can finish them, because a lot of these, or all of these, have had quite a bit of use. So I feel like if I focused on one for a little while, I could probably like finish it up fairly quickly. Maybe like 2 months, I reckon. I have quite a long-standing relationship with Luminous Silk Foundation. It was always the one that I kept in my freelancing kit, and I really liked it for bridal work. I liked it for all work, pretty much. If someone was going to have their photo taken, I was like, get that fucking Luminous Silk out, because this shit's good. I would use this on all skin types and just prep the skin differently. It has like a light to medium coverage depending on how much you use, and it looks beautiful on the skin. It just looks beautiful. Fantastic for mature skin. Gorgeous on, you know, girls who are fucking flawless anyway. So yeah, I still like Luminous Silk. I definitely notice more creasing issues on me. It is a more like dewy, hydrating foundation, hence why it's called Luminous Silk. But yeah, I'm gonna hold on to them. I would like to try and focus on panning one of these in the future. I might start with 4, and if I'm enjoying using 4 and finishing it up, then I might try and pan like 2 and 5 together, because I need to mix them. So yeah, look, to be honest, Giorgio Armani probably make my favorite foundations. I always really liked them, so you know, they're just really expensive, and also, you know, if they're out of your color, then it's a pain in the ass, and they are often sold out. So there's that. But yeah, I like this product. Oh, here's another one that I always really loved. It is a Lancome Tint Idole Ultra Wear Foundation. This is in the shade 035. Now, I purchased this to replace a shade that I had finished up, and that particular shade was, I think it was a smidgen too light for me, or smidgen too dark. I can't remember, but I was like, it's not quite the right shade for me. So when I'm repurchasing, I'm going to get the shade. It was either the shade below or the shade up, whatever. But I made sure I got it in like the right color. Anyway, I tried, but I fucked up, and it's no good for me. So this was always an oxidizing foundation. And again, you know, it might look just fine here. You can probably pick up on the peachy tones that are there, which is already problematic. So I screwed up when I purchased this. But it oxidizes really orange on me, similar to the Benefit Hello Happy foundation. But I still quite enjoy the formula. I would say this is a more medium to full coverage, like heading over into the full coverage spectrum. So it's a bit heavier, or not heavier, it's a bit more fuller coverage than I would go for, but you can absolutely wear it, you know, a bit thinner. But yeah, you might be able to see it's starting to like oxidize around the edges. Also, the scent of this, wow, man, it is strong. It is overwhelmingly strong. Yeah, look, it's orange and it stinks. So Soz, definitely really enjoyed that formulation once upon a time, but since that color is no good for me, I'm not gonna like obviously try and force myself to wear it. But being reminded of that scent, I'm also like, you know what, you need to go in the declutter pile, because no, don't want that. I don't want something that is that scented, like intense. It smells like perfume, for Christ's sake. Foundation should not smell like perfume. Uemura. So I have a few Uemura, like different types of Uemura foundations that you will see in this video, but we're starting with the Lightbulb Fluid foundation. So I think this is one of the best foundations that I own in my stash. I've got the shades 564 medium light sand and 574 light sand. Now my notes, where is it? 574 is a perfect color match for my skin. It's just like gorgeous. It looks like my skin. This foundation is absolutely gorgeous. It is just stunning. It has a light to medium coverage, so depending on how much you put on. I need to stop saying that because obviously I'm flogging a dead horse. It looks like skin. It is just stunning. Now having a light to medium coverage can sometimes mean it doesn't cover all of your imperfections, and I'm not looking for a foundation to cover all of my imperfections, but I wanted to even things out a little bit and still make my skin look like skin. That's what I'm going for, like a more improved version of my skin. This stuff covers redness really well. Like it's like it neutralizes it, so you don't need heavy coverage to like get rid of that, but it still allows things like, you know, I've got a tiny little freckle that'll pop through and stuff like that. So I really enjoy that. But where this shines is the way it looks on the skin. It looks like skin, and the creasing is minimal. It is stunning. I'm keeping them both. 564 is not perfect shade for me. It's gonna be a little bit darker, but I don't care. You can like pull it out of my cold dead hands. Like, I fucking dare you. I'll come back from the grave and haunt you about it as well. Love that foundation. It is stunning. I am going to cherish them, and there's a really good chance that I would repurchase them in the future. I feel like I also have, yeah, I've got the cushion version here, but I'll get to that in a minute. Before I move on to the next foundation, I do want to also mention that I finished up the Lightbulb Essence foundation. So the Lightbulb has the cushion, the Lightbulb fluid, and the Lightbulb Essence. The Essence one is, this is super liquidy. It has so much slip. It's insane. If you have really dry skin, you might like this. For me, it was too much. Like, there was just so much slip. I actually mixed this with the Petal Skin Foundation. I have a bottle here, which I will get into talking about soon. But I mixed these two together to make them both wearable. And yeah, there's that. I wouldn't buy this one again. Okay, let's do some more decluttering, shall we? This one is the Australis Fresh and Flawless Full Coverage Foundation. I don't like this. I don't like anything about it. This is in the shade Cashmere. Color is not right for me. It is super yellow. I don't get it. I feel like I remember actually like swatching all of these as well. Well, not all of the shades, but many of them, and comparing them and like trying to find one that worked for me. And yeah, just no, the colors feel a bit off for me personally. Like, the color depth is right for me, but it's too yellow. And also I feel like it's got quite good coverage. I would say it's in the like fuller coverage spectrum. So if the color match is not right, it looks like a mask, like a weird skin mask. Another issue I had with this is I feel like it kind of sets on the skin and it almost feels a bit tight. It reminds me of the feeling that I get when my skin is dry and it's like feels tight and uncomfortable, but it's not actually drying my skin out. It just feels like it's sort of shrink wrapping over my skin. I don't like it. I just don't. No, I don't like the way it looks on the skin. The color is not right for me, and I don't like the way that it actually feels. So that guy has got to go. Also, creasing, up there. Next one I'm decluttering is the La Roche-Posay Toleriane Corrective Liquid Foundation. This is in the shade 11 Light Beige. Now, I purchased this when I was at like the peak of my acne breakouts, really bad. My skin was, I had like, you know, cystic acne. I needed good coverage to try and hide it because it's fucking embarrassing, and I had oily skin at the time. So I found this in Priceline, and I still remember shopping with Kat for this, and when we found it I was like, oh, it's kind of nice. The shade range is absolute trash. Color is pretty good for me, that's fine. This has like great coverage. If you need something that's going to cover this, you can go and buy this in the drugstore. You can get it when they have their 40% off sales, and this has got the coverage. Fantastic if you have oily skin, if you have dry skin or normal leaning towards dry. You might have a problem with this, because that's where I had a problem with this. This feels super, super dry on the skin. It feels like it's sucking the oil and the moisture out of my skin. I also do feel like this is a bit heavy. Like, it looks heavy on the skin, even if you try and use a tiny bit. So for that reason, this guy can't stay in my stash. Oh, and I should mention the creasing with this was not too bad. I feel like once it's on, it stays put. It doesn't, you know, move around. It's got, that's like one of the benefits of using these matte foundations, that just sort of like, you get them on there and they stay on there, but it, yeah, looks a bit heavy. Okay, here's one I'm a little bit torn about, but I am decluttering it, and I'll let you know why. So it's the Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. The shade that I have is F3. It's a little bit light for me. It's not the reason why I'm decluttering it though. That, you know, that's fine. I can deepen it up. That's not an issue. This has medium coverage, which I love. That's, you know, where my love lies. And this sets completely on the skin. You wouldn't have to powder this if you didn't want to, and it still feels really comfortable, which is nice. It looks good on the skin as well, except for where it clings to dry patches. Dry patches I didn't even know I had at the time, but that's fine. That's often when I discover my dry patches, when I put on a foundation. It just like accentuated them so much. Also, this creased terribly on me. Really bad. So this one can't stay, because I don't want a foundation that looks like it's creating like foundation rivers on the side of my face. It's not cute. So that guy's got to go. Another Uemura one. This one I'm getting rid of. This is the Petal Skin Fluid Foundation. I also have the Petal Skin Compact here somewhere. What have I done with it? It's got to be here somewhere. I don't know. I thought all of my foundations were in my 2 foundation tubs. Apparently not. But I'm actually going to talk about these together. So the Petal Skin Cushion, it's a refill. Mine's a refill. It's unopened, and the reason why I didn't open it to do this video is because I had used the foundation in the cushion not that long ago anyway. So I already know how I feel about that. Now, the cushion version of the Petal Skin is divine. It is just absolutely immaculately perfect. It looks so beautiful on the skin. Like, it is up there with some of the most beautiful foundations I've ever experienced in my life. Problem is, it's terrible if you've got oily skin. I no longer have oily skin, so, you know, you can probably guess where that's going. Love it. It's stunning. I'm keeping it. I'm probably going to buy another one in the future. The reason why I haven't opened it is, once you open a cushion foundation, in my experience and my opinion, you got to use it start to finish. You can't focus on anything else. So there's that. Now, the Petal Skin Fluid Foundation, I purchased this because I had actually mentioned that I loved the Petal Skin Cushion, but it was no good because of my oily skin, and a lovely viewer said pick up the bottle version, the fluid version. It's better for oily skin, and it was. However, I no longer have oily skin, and I feel like this doesn't look as good on my skin. It looks okay, nowhere near as good as the cushion version, and it creased a lot on me. I have the shade 744 Moderate Beige, and this is just a little bit too it's a bit too orangey on my skin. Again, like, it sort of oxidizes a bit and it pulls on like the orange spectrum, so no good for me. Not totally in love with that formula of the fluid, and also color not being right. It's gotta go. And I feel like when the undertone is wrong, like, you can't fix it. If the undertone is right but a bit too light or too dark, no worries, I've got it under control. But when the undertone is off, it's never going to look right. Laura Mercier, this is the Flawless Lumiere Radiance Perfecting Foundation. I have the shade 2W1 Macadamia. So my notes on this one's fairly new to me. I got it in PR, I've only used it a few times. My notes say light to medium coverage. That's exactly what I want, and it looks fairly good on the skin. Creasing was average as well, I remember that much. I wasn't like overly impressed or disappointed in it. I was just like, whatevs. This is a foundation that I'm going to hold on to, but if it gets to the point where I'm like trying to pan it and I'm not totally in love with it, then I feel like I would easily declutter it, basically. So there are some foundations that I've held on to where I'm a bit like, you know, maybe I won't finish the whole thing, or maybe I won't finish all of them, but for now they can stay. I'm not trying to leave myself with like 2 foundations, basically. But the Laura Mercier one, that's one that's sort of in the middle, but I've opted to keep. Hourglass. Okay, love Hourglass. Love so many of their products, but the Vanish Seamless Finish Liquid Foundation I do not love. So this one is a bit dark for me. The shade is Ivory. Again, I think it's more like undertone issues, because if you look at it there, it actually looks like it's going to be too light for me, but I do think it kind of oxidizes a bit. It's hard to show you when, also it smells. Smells like chemicals. When I apply it that heavily, it's like, you know, it's always going to look not great, but you can probably see the difference there. It's just a bit off, and because this has quite good coverage, you can really notice that. Again, it's going back to that looking like a mask kind of thing. Now, this, I actually found this to be really difficult to apply. I know Hourglass say use half a pump to do a full face, like when they release this, and I was like, then why don't you make your pump dispense the half pump amount, rather than making us be like, oh my god, try and do half a pump. That's annoying. Like, I'm not here for it, especially not here for it from a brand with prices like this, okay? No, I don't accept. My biggest issue with this is the application. I found it's kind of difficult to like move it around the face. I think they say like apply it with a brush, but I feel like if a foundation can't be applied with both, like, I'm not interested, because like I said, I go through phases of liking sponges or brushes, and at the moment it's a sponge thing. So with a sponge, didn't like it at all. I have used this with a brush. I do know it's a little bit easier to use, but it's kind of tuggy. Like, it's kind of, you got to work really quickly with it, and I don't really like, I don't like my makeup items to require me to do extra work or be in a rush or, like, you know, bend over backwards, fucking clap 3 times and do it under the light of a full moon. I can't be fucked. Like, you don't work for me, so you gotta go. I'm very sorry. But maybe next time when you release a foundation, I will like it. We'll see. Okay, Smashbox Studio Skin Full Coverage 24-Hour Foundation. I have the shade 1.1. So when I purchased this, I really, really loved it. And now I'm not sure how I feel about it. That's a... yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So when I purchased this, it was too light for me. And it's still too light for me. It has really, really good coverage, but it does cling to dry patches. So that's kind of a bummer for me. But what I'm finding is I don't want to get rid of it yet. I want to play with it a bit more. I think because this is, I'm pretty sure this was like the last foundation that I purchased. And this is going back like 2 years. I feel like it's been a while. Did I buy foundations last year? I don't think I did. And I think because this was the last foundation that I purchased, I'm finding it a bit difficult to let go of it, even though I don't think it's really suitable for me. So what I'm going to do is keep it in my stash, and then, you know, I'll pick it up and I'll use it, and I'll either change my mind. I'll either be like, no, I actually quite like this, or I will go, come on, it's time to let it go. And sometimes I need that grace to be able to sort of make that decision over time, basically. I do feel like this can look a bit heavy on the skin. If you use a little bit of it though, it's pretty good. And it can crease badly again if you're wearing it a bit heavier. So it's not perfect, but God, I remember loving this. Loving this when I first purchased it. But my skin has changed. My skin has definitely changed. Okay, my tub is getting smaller, yay. Rimmel. This is the Lasting Finish 25-Hour Hydration Boost Full Coverage Lightweight Foundation. It is in, I've got two. They sent me the whole shade range, like whole Australian shade range in PR, and I held these two out. 103 True Ivory and 100 Ivory. So this is not a nice foundation. This has like bits in it, and it's like it balls up on the skin, and I couldn't even wear this for a full day. I put this on and I was like, get this shit off my face. I don't know if this just doesn't play well with other skincare products. That could be what it is, but I could not make this look good on my skin, so I can't tell you that much about it. I am getting rid of both of them. I don't want them, thank you. Beauty Blender Bounce Foundation. I hate the packaging of this thing. Like, I get where they were going with it, but also gross. I have the shade 3.55. Now, this would be considered my summer shade, and I'm not getting rid of it. I'm actually holding on to it. I don't mind it. Even though it's too dark for me, it's fine. I'm holding on to it for summer. This has olive undertones, which is so good for me. Like I said, I don't know what it's like elsewhere in the world, but in Australia, finding a foundation with an olive undertone is like not actually an easy thing to do. So for that reason, I'm going to hold on to it. When summer rolls around, I will try and play with it a bit and decide if I actually am going to finish it, pan it, what's going to happen. But I don't mind this. It's not perfect. I wouldn't buy it again. I don't love the formula that much, but it's got medium coverage, which I like. It sits on the skin nicely, which is like a big thing for me these days. I don't want my foundation to look like foundation. I want it to look as close to like skin-like, or I want it to melt into the skin and look kind of not necessarily natural, because I feel like you can always pick makeup when someone's wearing it, but I want it to look closer to that sort of natural skin type texture. Also, creasing, not too bad. So, you know, I'm a bit like, you can stay for now, but you may not survive a declutter in the future. I'm just saying. Okay, L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. I have 4 of these. There is one inside. It's currently in my project pan. It's almost done. There's like this much left in it. And I have 3 here that are unopened. This is a shade 207. I'm pretty sure there was one called 204, and that was actually my perfect shade. This one's ever so slightly too dark for me. You might be able to tell I am wearing it today, but I can get away with it. It's fine. I love this foundation. In Australia it's been discontinued, so you know, there's that. I have, whenever I mention this foundation, I have so many people offering to like buy it for me and send it to me from overseas. I appreciate those offers. I think it's very sweet that people are willing to like put in time and effort to help me get this foundation, but I am okay with this being one that I will no longer be able to get, because like I've said a million zillion times in so many videos, I love trying new things, which is why I have so many foundations here. So, you know, once these are gone, that's okay, because I just get to go out and explore new foundations. There's always new products coming out, so I don't have a problem with that. Why I love this foundation, it's beautiful and dewy. The coverage is quite good. I would say it's light to medium buildable. It looks like skin. If you have oily skin, you might not love this so much. It might be a bit much for you, but if you got dry skin, yes. And I think it looks gorgeous. It gives the skin like a radiance, which is really nice. This does crease though, and I find, you know, if I'm wearing a really thin layer just for like average stuff, it's not too bad, but if I put on a little bit extra for a little bit extra coverage, it can crease worse. So there's that. It is quite a movie foundation though, like it's got some slip to it, so, and that's not surprising because it's like Pro Glow formula, so you know, there's that. But I love this foundation. I'm keeping them, and I don't think I'll have any issue panning them. It takes me probably 3 months of semi-regular use to finish one up, and if I'm wearing it every day, then I probably go through one in 2 months. Back to Natasha Denona. This is the Face Glow foundation. I have the shade 40, so this is a good color match for me. The coverage is light, it's quite sheer, which I don't have an issue with at all. If you require more than a sheer to light coverage, then you might want to skip this one, because building it, I don't know, I don't think it builds all that well. Because it's quite a slippy, not slippy, but it's quite emollient, but it also has quite a thick formula, and it's designed to be quite dewy looking. It can start to look like a pool of stuff on your face. And also, if you deal with creasing and you're layering this stuff, it will create rivers of foundation in your smile lines. It's not very attractive. So I definitely think, you know, if you like a fuller coverage, this is not one to buy and layer, basically. If you like a sheer light coverage, yeah, this is quite nice. It looks really nice on the skin, no complaints there. Like I mentioned, it does crease, and the creasing can be bad if you apply too much of it, but I actually like mixing this with other foundations as well. Now, I mix it with the Transformatte. Madeline purchased both of these for me, and she was like, I like to mix these guys together, and it creates a beautiful finish, and that is spot on. I totally agree with her. But it also mixes well with other foundations. If you want to take something that's a little bit matte and sort of increase the dewiness or decrease the matteness of it, that, like, it works really well for that. And because it's also, you know, a foundation formula, not just like an oil or a moisturizer, it just mixes really well. It doesn't dull down the coverage of a foundation, all that sort of stuff. So I like this on its own, but I also really like it as a mixing product. I feel like it complements other foundations really well. So that's staying. I'm keeping that. Shiseido. This is the Synchro Skin Self-Refreshing Foundation. So this is designed to basically always look fresh, like you've just applied it. And it's supposed to like not crease too much and all that jazz. I would say that the creasing on this is kind of more on the minimal side, which is fantastic. This has a light to medium coverage, which I really like, and the color match is really good for me. This one is 220 linen. This feels really comfortable on the skin. I wouldn't say it's like an absolute favorite, but I do enjoy it, basically. I'm not sure if I would repurchase it though. I probably wouldn't. I would be more inclined to try like something new, something I haven't tried before. So this one stays. Like I said, wouldn't repurchase it, but that's okay. There's most foundations here I would not repurchase again. I'd be off looking for something new to play with. But the Synchro Skin, it is a nice foundation, and I think it might be the first Shiseido foundation I've ever tried. So there you go. Okay, last but not least, I have some cushions, and I'm actually not going to review these because I didn't try them. And the reason why I didn't try them was because I thought to myself, oh dear, if I open all of these cushions, keeping in mind I've got the Petal Skin one somewhere, I have no idea where, if I open these, I am going to have to use them, otherwise they're going to dry up. So I have the Lightbulb Cushion Foundation. If you guys have tried any of these, let us know in the comments what you think about them. So this one is the shade 375 Light Amber. Look, it's sealed, so I don't know what it looks like. That will be a mystery for me to find out on another day. I would love to crack one of these open this year and like start playing with them, because you know, there's that. But the Lightbulb is in the like the bottle, the liquid formula that I showed you. Really love that one, so I'm hoping that I will love this one, and if this is better than that, my God, it's gonna be fucking perfection. I also have four, because there's 2 refills in each. Anyway, these are from, I think it's Isonox. And these are the, oh my God, what are they called? I actually don't know. It's all in Korean, is it? Yeah, no, I literally have no idea what these are. But I have the shade 23 in both. Oh, maybe it's on the compact? Nope. No good. Maybe it's on this guy. Nope. No good. Okay, but let's go through these. So each one comes with a refill and like a compact in the actual compact. But the reason why I bought these is the packaging. Who's that? That's Bambi. Oh, it's so fucking cute. And I have this one as well. I got these so long ago, like 5,000 years ago, off Yes Style. Oh, micro foam cushion silk cover. It says it on the front. So there's that one. Is this the same? This is a micro foam cushion. So we've got micro foam cushion silk cover. If you've tried these, let me know what you think. Are they nice? Are they good? Should I just keep them in the boxes forever and, you know, not upset myself? Like, are they not good? And if I use them, I'll be disappointed with life. I don't think I'll be disappointed with life, because just the compacts are stunning. They're stunning. Okay, guys, so that is it for my little foundation testing video. It wasn't little. This has been a marathon. I had 35 products, keeping in mind some are like, you know, there's 2 in here, or there's double ups of, or some I even have like 4 of. L'Oreal Pro Glow. I'm getting rid of 11. 11. So that leaves me with 24, and one of them is almost finished inside. It's still too many, but I feel like what I have here is a good selection of products. I'm not going to dip into my drawer at any stage and not be sure if I'm going to kind of enjoy a foundation that I'm putting on. So that's really good, because, you know, before doing this, I would open my drawer and I'd be like, God, I haven't used that in so long. Do I even still like it? So now I know, at least now I know, based with my current skin type, like, I've got products that actually work for me, and I'm getting rid of the ones that don't, which is fantastic. But I do still need to do some work to make this collection smaller, because 24 foundations, it's a lot. I don't need that many. So chop chop, get on to finishing them, Hayley. Hurry up, and hopefully one day in the future I'll be able to buy a new foundation without feeling guilty. That'd be lovely. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. As with all of these videos that I do, if you have used anything here and you've got feelings about it and you want to let the world know, let us know down in the comments. Let us know the product, your skin type, maybe if you had issues with particular shades, you were like, why is this shade so peachy or so orange when it's meant to be a neutral shade, or something like that. Whatever it is, let us know, the good, the bad, the ugly, in the comments. I know people check out the comments of these videos, which is great, you know, can be helpful to get other people's mini reviews on products if you've got your eye on something. So yes, go forth with the commenting. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one. Also, I will link all of the other videos down below so you can check them out if you want. Okay, bye guys.